Greetings, Fright fans. Welcome to the horror show. I am Jaime and Fuego. Guess where I am? Yep, I'm still here. I've been here for like the last 10 days, going on 11 mañana at the Phoenix Film Festival, International Horror and Sci-Fi Film Festival 2018, baby. And I am actually getting to talk today about maybe my favorite film of the festival thus far. Summer of '84 is probably barely above it, but that was one that I had high expectations for, and this was one that I went in with no frame of thinking about beyond the fact that we had done a trailer reaction I'd forgotten all about. We're talking about the Heretics, y'all. This is produced by the same team that did Bite, which we saw featured here a couple years ago for the Fall Showcase, which is something they do every October. And this movie is awesome. I'm going to go right on and say it. That when we saw the trailer, I thought it looked pretty cool. Everybody else in the camp was just kind of like, maybe it looks okay. I don't know, but the concept really, really worked for me. It's about a young girl who gets kidnapped by a cult, and they do this crazy ritualistic kind of what seems to be a sacrifice, at least of her initially, and then the trailer you find out, nope, it's not. They all kill themselves and she somehow ends up back at home. But years later, you find out the nature of this ritualistic craziness and what it really meant, and some of those demons come back to haunt her even though she initially thinks that she is safe. So I already said I love this movie. I thought it was awesome, one of my favorites of the festival. So that kind of goes without saying at this point. I loved the concept. I loved some of the twists that we got in it. I thought the acting was great, especially from the lead girl who just goes through so much tragic torment and stuff like that. You really genuinely feel for her. And so, yeah, let's just get right into it. You saw overall impressions. And just to elaborate a little bit more on the story, we get in the opening scenes this flashback to what actually happened, and everybody's wearing those crazy masks, and they're all completely different. Some are animalistic, like the animal skulls and whatnot, and others look just more shamanistic craziness. I don't know. They're all unique, and they're all wonderfully designed, and just the bloodshed that transpires when they're all slicing their throats and stuff, it's well done. It's very well done, and it's super creepy, especially for somebody like me who had a hardcore religious upbringing, Reformed Baptist, subsect of a subsect in Christianity. So yeah, when we meet up with her, she's still in coping mode, tons of PTSD. She's going through different group therapy classes, which is where she's met her girlfriend, and that's also where she's doing at this church where the meetings are taking place. She's doing kind of soup kitchen thing and feeding the homeless, and so she is trying her best to work through it, but her mom is very obviously supremely overly protective, and with good reason. I mean, if your daughter was taken at such an early age, you would be scared as hell for her even leaving the house at any time, even if she is at this point in her early 20s. And so that's about as much as I can describe beyond the little hint that I gave that kind of a demonistic aspect from the past comes back into her life right around the anniversary with her girlfriend, and it's super sad, man. It's hella tragic, and she's taken back to a secluded area where there is something that's going to be finished from the initial process. So that's about all that I can tell you guys. And yes, the story has some cool twists and turns, which really surprised me, genuinely. I like that. Anytime something doesn't veer in the direction that I'm anticipating, that's always a pleasant surprise. Once again, if I'm going to go into just a little bit more elaboration on the performances, the main girl was obviously awesome, as I mentioned. Girlfriend was badass and a very interesting counterbalance of toughness to her, but they were both scarred individuals, and they got that across very accordingly and very genuinely. Also, Thomas, who is this mysterious character who comes in and basically takes her out of her element, he does a hell of a job as well. And then really, at the end of the day, besides all of the smaller little actors that pop up here and there when the search for her goes down after she goes missing again, they're all okay enough, but nobody's really given the chance to shine like this trio of actors. And the interconnectivity is good. The chemistry when they're on screen together it's scary, it's soft and loving at times. I mean, we get a little bit of everything. If we're going to go into some visuals of this film, it's gory when it wants to be. You see some hints at a transformation in the trailer, so I'm not going to go into any spoileristic details about that beyond the fact that when that stuff is on screen, the practical makeup work is great. It's really spot on, and it's gruesome, and it's sad more so than anything else, because what this girl is going through is heartbreaking. There's also some very trippy kind of like hallucinogenic scenes, not in abundance, but there's a lot of like time jumping, to recollections of other things and also things that may or not be real. And so that jumping is very, very well done. I love this movie visually, especially the beautiful woods, presumably in Canada. I'm guessing that they shot this. It's always a great backdrop for this sort of creepy storytelling. So from a visual and a practical standpoint, whether it was just the cinematography or just when we do see some of that gruesome practical that I mentioned, to the wardrobe design of the cult members, it's all great, man. It's really, really good. And there's not really much else to talk about music-wise, unfortunately, me being a music dude. But the score is effective, and it's ominous and builds tension where it needs to. And that's about all that you can say for a movie that is so heavily driven by the performances and the situations that you see these actors put into, especially our lead. So that's me summing up The Heretics, one of my favorite films from the International Horror and Sci-Fi Film Festival 2018 here. I have been Jaime and Fuego. We have tons more rad status coverage of this festival coming at you in the coming days, long after the proceedings have already ended, because we've seen over 20 films when it's all said and done. So until next time, amigos, remember, stay scared. See this movie. It's damn good.